Samuel Adams. Savor the flavor responsibly.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon in Chicago as the Bears take on the Rams tonight.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. You do know the game is in Los Angeles, right?
What?
Yeah, it's in L.A.
No.
It's not in Chicago.
Come on.
You have a ticket to the game in Chicago because it's not in Chicago.
Oh, well, you know what? I can get there from here. I got time.
Yeah.
Flights are empty. Got some time. Go to L.A.
Yeah. I understand. You
know?
You told everybody you had to go to the game, so you'd stay in Chicago. Like, we get it. Everybody gets it. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Steelers stay unbeaten. Odell is out for the season, and the Dodgers are one win away. But we begin today with the Patriots getting crushed in New England by the 49ers, 33-6. Cam Newton was yanked early in the fourth quarter for Jarrett Stidham. Meanwhile, Tom Brady threw 4 touchdown passes for Tampa Bay and looked his best of the season. Now Antonio Brown is set to join that circus. The comparisons are natural and obvious. Wilbon, should Bill Belichick stick with Cam Newton?
Bill Belichick should do what he wants to. I'm not going to presume to tell Bill Belichick about anything that regards football. I will say this. First of all, let me say, I think right now all precincts are reporting, and I just owe you a round of golf somewhere on taking Bill and Cam over, Tampa Bay. I concede, even though we got hours and hours to go, weeks and weeks, I concede. Okay. So, to see Bill Belichick go over and tap Cam on the thigh and say, I'm going to the pen, that's not something we imagined, Tony, 2 years ago or 5 years ago. Even if we said, hey, a 31 or 32-year-old Cam Newton, he's going to be with Bill Belichick, we still wouldn't have imagined Belichick going to Cam to say, just sort of have a seat. We're going with the kid. We're going with a kid that no one knows out of the bullpen. That's sort of jarring, and it looks like Cam doesn't have it. You and I talked when this was going on. I hate to admit it looks like Cam doesn't have it, but it looks like he doesn't have it, and he might not be able to get it back.
So I really thought the Patriots were going to win this game.
Me too.
I really thought the week of practice would make all the difference in the world.
Big difference, yeah.
Cam Newton threw 3 interceptions, completed, I believe, 9 passes for under 100 yards.
It's nothing.
Mike, he misses guys by a lot. He misses guys deep, and he misses guys short. Look, it's the first time that the Patriots are 2 games under 500 since 2001. Tom Brady is in that mix from 2001 on, obviously. I can still see them finding a path to win the division because they've got Miami one more time. They got the Jets twice. They got Buffalo twice. So they have that. They have that chance. But if you look right now at Tampa Bay and my bet against you looks very good right now.
Your bet's covered.
Yeah.
But you know what, Tony? It's not just the Cam Newton part. The rest of the Patriots don't look any good either. They don't look like they have players. And so maybe this was a rebuilding year, like we are unaccustomed to saying the words rebuilding Patriots, Belichick. You don't even say that. But it really looks like they're not any good.
The other takeaway that seems fair right now, the takeaway is that Brady jumped ship at the right time.
Yes,
that
early.
Brady knew,
he did what Belichick does. Usually, Belichick's pushing. This time, Brady pushed off and said, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
The Steelers and the Titans both entered their game 5-0 and nearly played to a tie in regulation. But Titans kicker Stephen Gostkowski faded the ball too far right, and the Steelers scraped by 27-24 in a game they led by 20 in the third. The Steelers are now 6-0 for the first time since 1978, a year they won the Super Bowl, Tony. But have they convinced you, or did they convince you, they're the better team?
Both teams are quite good. But if you go on the road and you win, I think you are slightly the better team. The Steelers were favored by 2. They covered. They won by 3. Now, the Gostkowski thing, so we bring in another former Patriot. The Gostkowski thing is important because it's a 45-yard field goal. You're supposed to make those. You're supposed to go to overtime. He is 10 of 16 this year, which isn't good. I believe in game 1 he missed 3. He finally had the game winner real late in the game, but it may be that he's on that squad just because he and Vrabel were teammates together at some time. I'll give it to Pittsburgh by a small margin, but Tennessee was Pittsburgh's equal. I think that's fair to say.
Tony, they were the equal, but as we know, as I painfully know, bad field goal kicking, that makes a big difference. The margin of victory in terms of the score might not be great, but you got a kicker pushing them right 6 times. I don't know if he pushed all 6 of them wide right, but missing those 6 kicks, Tony, and he's not out there attempting 60-yarders. So, the Steelers are better because they won a game on the road when the other team's kicker couldn't make a makeable kick. That makes them better. Field goal kicking counts. And so, I look at the Steelers now and I say, wow. Tony, we look at the league is without, Andrew Luck, and who knows where Cam is going, and these guys ought to be in the primes of their careers. And Ben Roethlisberger's like 6 or 7 years older than those 2 guys, and he's still going. Ben Roethlisberger, as you know, I felt this way all of his career. He never gets the praise that other people get and that he has earned, in my opinion. So I know the Steelers haven't been great for a few years, but they look great now.
I would point out that in that comparison that we had, that would you take Tannehill or Ben, and you took Ben and I took Tannehill. Ben threw 3 picks. He threw a bad pick at the end of the game. He tried to fit it in the end zone to a receiver who had 3 blue jerseys around him, was batted up in the air. It was retrieved, and it almost led to a tie and then to overtime. I will say this about the Steelers, though. If you go to Tennessee and you win, and the next week you go to Baltimore, if you win that game,
you're the fave. You're the fave in the AFC. Oh, even with Kansas City.
Well,
even
I
with
don't know about that. But I tip my hat because after that, Mike, after that is a veritable all-you-can-eat buffet. After that are the Cowboys, the Bengals, and the Jaguars. Let's go to the World Series, where the Dodgers are up 3-2 after another tense game last night. Series has been great. Clayton Kershaw, whose playoff troubles are well documented, is 2-0 in this series. He went 5 2/3 last night, giving up 2 runs, and he left with the lead. The pivotal play was a rare attempted steal of home by Manny Margot in the 4th inning. With 2 outs and the Dodgers ahead 3-2, Margot took off as Kershaw had his back to him. Wilbon, do you approve of what Margot did?
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like was the slide, because if he slides straight in, God knows, I haven't slid on a baseball field for any purpose in close to 50 years. But it just seems to me, if he makes that slide and he gets his hand in there, he was going to be safe because the hand was going to beat the tag. And then we're talking about maybe a whole different, that's 1 run, I don't know what we're talking about. But there's only a handful of guys, Tony, that I would say, yeah, that guy has earned the right to be on his own. And Margot's one of them, of course. My man, Javi, is another one. But, Tone, yes, it was a great play for Kershaw to be alert enough to get that ball there and that tag to come down. But I think the way Tampa had to manufacture runs, and they knew it, that this was an important, pivotal part of the game.
This is a tremendous play. It is an attempted straight steal of home in a World Series. You just don't get this very often. You do this because Justin Turner is way back behind third base, and you've got a secondary lead. Kershaw is a lefty. His back is to you. He takes the most exaggerated motion of any pitcher anywhere. So you go. And then Muncy yells, step off, so there's no balk. When Kershaw throws it home, he throws to the first base side. It's not a great throw at that point. The catcher makes a great play. The catcher who's not Will Smith from the night before, who did not make a great play. He makes a great play, and from then on, Kershaw cruises. His next 5 outs, he does without particular stress. And I'm going to point this out about Kershaw in this postseason. Okay, it's the first one in 20 postseason series where he has 2 wins. He's 4-1 in the postseason. He's 2.93 with an ERA with 37 strikeouts and 5 walks. He's everything that they could have asked for at this point.
And yet,
and the night
I
before,
think that
series
is going to be. I think the series is going to be even tomorrow, but we'll get to that tomorrow. We got time for that.
Me too.
Well, let's go back to the stolen base. Let's go back to the stolen base. Okay. I know you were a little child, very young, if you were young enough, old enough to remember it all. Yes, it's Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson.
Yes.
When you a straight out theft of home. Javi Baez did it, I think, in a championship league series game, but it wasn't the World Series. I don't think he did it against Cleveland. But that's the most daring play in baseball. It's great to see it. I just started yelling.
It made sense.
It's so cool to see.
It made sense. The way Kershaw sets up, it made sense. I could see a Mookie Betts trying something like that.
Yeah.
I could see it. Anyway, let's take a break. Coming up is Todd Gurley really to blame